In order to be successful in calculus, it is imperative that one is very efficient with using the basic properties of algebra. So here are a few of the basic rules that one should be very quick and efficient with. The order that we add two quantities does not matter. In the A and the B and the C later on here, they can be real numbers, variables, or expression. Additionally, the order in which we multiply A times B is equal to B times A, so the order does not matter. Addition and multiplication are also associative. If we want to add together three different quantities or multiply together three different quantities, it does not matter where we start, or in a sense, how we group them. AB multiplied by C is the same thing as BC multiplied by A. And a very important property is the distributive property. If we have A multiplied by B plus C, it becomes A times B plus A times C. And you can distribute from either side. If you have the A plus B times C, you get A times C first plus B times C. Some basic properties involving negatives. The negative of a negative equals a positive. So just keep in mind that two negatives cancel each other off. If you're multiplying together two quantities and you have a negative sign involved, you can put it anywhere that you would like. You could group it with the first term, group it with the second term, or simply put it in front of the expression. A negative A times a negative B causes the negatives to cancel, leaving you with an AB. And using the distributive property above, a negative sign distributes through to become negative A plus negative B. So let's look at a few basic examples. Let's perform the indicated operation and simplify. So here when I look at the expression, I'm just going to think about kind of starting my work from the inside out. The first thing I would note is that minus 4 plus 6 is the number 2. So this becomes 4 times minus 3 plus 2 times 2. And then continuing to work with that inside quantity, 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 3 plus 4 is 1. And any number multiplied by 1 is that number. So this expression simplifies down to 4. So a very similar type of problem. Perform the indicated operations and simplify the expression here. So maybe a bit more going on. So let's just look at this piece by piece. So 10 times 1/2. So 1/2 of 10 is 5. Minus 3 times minus 2. Looking back at our properties of negations, the negative of a negative, the negatives go away, and you end up with just 3 times 2, which is the number 6. And looking in the denominator where we have this fraction, 4 times minus 3 gives us minus 12, and that's all over minus 6. So in this case, the negatives cancel, and what we would be left with is 12 over 6, which is simply 2. So after simplifying each part of this expression, we end up with 5 minus 6, all divided by the number 2. So this is equal to minus 1 over 2, otherwise known as the number minus 1/2. Lastly, for this video, let's consider a few properties of 0. If you have A being a real number, a variable, or an expression, if you take A plus 0, you always get back A. Any quantity multiplied by 0 gives you back 0. 0 divided by A is going to be 0 as long as A is not 0. And the one thing we have to be extremely careful of is A over 0 is undefined. We are not allowed to divide by 0. So for this last example, let's see if we can find the value of the expression. If it's undefined, simply say so. So part A, 3 divided by 0. Well, anything divided by 0 is undefined. In part B, 0 raised to the third power, well, raising something to the third power means we have 0 times 0 times 0. And from our above properties, we know that anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So 0 cubed is simply the number 0.